I believe that our biggest fear is to let go of our fear. So we are afraid of our own inner true power. So most of us are, raised to be a specific identity, a specific person, and that person is built off of habits and beliefs and usually how your parents would like you to be, right? And that's, we could call that, not your true self. It's just kind of like a programming, right? So being this program, the biggest challenge, the biggest threat for this program is something from the outside comes and threatens this program, you see? And that's why our nervous system or our ego reacts when someone is pointing something out on us or is against us or something like that. So the ego responds and it wants to fight for itself. So what we fear the most, or what our ego fears the most, is letting go of all that protection. And when we do that, we step into a different power within us. So we're not living the survival mode, holding everything together, defending ourselves all the time, but we can just be from a state of being, a state of I would say love inside of us. And that love and that beingness is a power, because when we open to that within ourselves, it will let these old beliefs fall away, and that makes us vulnerable. So the more that we soften ourselves within, we will let go of our identity, and we will feel so vulnerable, because now all of a sudden we don't feel all this strength that we had. Maybe the confidence that we used to have is disappearing, and we're just being vulnerable, but we're stepping into this deeper power, and we know that this is our true authentic way of being. Initially, that is what we're fearing, because letting go of our identity creates all the anxiety and fear in the world. And I think that's where most people are stuck, because if they let go of this, they're nothing. That's the belief. We're nothing if we let go of our fear and our worries in the past. So but when it's actually taking place, we realize, holy Christ, now I can relax. Now I can live a life of happiness and joy. I don't need to do this anymore. And what I actually feared was just changing and becoming a deeper version of myself.
Hi, I'm Vijayan Swaminathan. I'm the founder and CEO of Zadwell. At Zadwell, we help our clients transform into the digital space. We help from the web technologies to blockchain to Internet of Things and a wide range of services. Over the years, I can see the impact of technology that can have on business of all sizes. But I've also seen a gap in the market, a lack of quality support and outstanding technology solutions that truly meet the needs of the client. And that's where we come in. And ever since 2018, we started Zadwell. We've been helping more clients to digitally transform their business. We want to provide that personalized and dedicated support and care for our clients. And through this process, we want to see our clients thrive through the digital transformation process. At Zadwell, we work with a wide range of clients, from small businesses to startups to large enterprises and public sector companies. We have the experience and expertise to help you with your goals and an ever-changing technology landscape. So if you're looking for a technology partner who truly cares about your success, here we are. It's been an incredible journey so far, and I'm so excited to see where we'll go next. Let's get to work.
Hey everyone, welcome to Pathfinders. Today we have an amazing guest, my good friend, Lasse Joergensen. I practiced saying his name for 4 or 5 times. I'm still not perfect at it, but I'm going to try anyway. Lasse, welcome to the show. Please allow me to introduce you properly so that then we can go ahead and deep dive into the conversation if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Today's guest, yeah, absolutely. Today's guest is a true modern day Renaissance man, a visionary who blends artistry, psychology, and transformation into everything he touches. Lasse Joergensen is a transformation coach, filmmaker, and a founder of All In Productions. I had the privilege of shooting my own Zadwell video with my good friend here. So I loved the experience, actually. It's a high-end video production company based in Canada that crafts cinematic, story-driven films to help brands connect deeply and authentically with their own audiences. But Lasse's work goes far beyond the lens. As a transformation coach, he guides entrepreneurs to become their future self now, helping them break through limitations, align with their authentic voice, and step fully into their purpose. His approach fuses deep inner work with practical, real-world strategies, echoing the transformative philosophies of Dr. Joe Dispenza, whose mission deeply inspires him. He's originally from Copenhagen, Denmark. Lasse's journey has been as diverse as it is profound, spanning marketing, sales, fashion, music production, mindfulness, social work, and psychotherapy. His breadth of experience gives him a rare ability to see people fully, to meet them where they are, and to guide them toward meaningful, lasting change. When he's not coaching or creating, you'll find him roasting coffee, traveling the world, or making music, always exploring new ways to live and express life to the fullest. My friend, Lasse, welcome to the show. It's an absolute pleasure to sit down with you today, my friend.
Thank you so much, Vijay. I really appreciate that. And what a great introduction.
No, it's my honor and pleasure. How would you describe your Lasse and your journey? How did it all start? And if you have to describe it in your own words, where did it all start? Probably in Denmark, I suppose. Can you describe it in your own words, man?
Yeah, and I think your podcast is actually really good for my whole life in a way, because I actually find myself as a pathfinder. I believe my whole life is all about becoming. It's all about becoming something new, someone new. So it has been, I would say, a journey of transformation and exploring myself in many different aspects of life. Yeah, so I'm originally from Denmark. I lived most of my life in Denmark, and I've been doing so many different things. I definitely figured out when I was 18 that I was an entrepreneur, because I started my own t-shirt brand, and that's kind of when my entrepreneurial mindset began. But before then, I was just living a pretty normal life. I would say on paper, I lived a pretty normal life. Had some good parents, growing up in a Danish culture, and just did what was kind of expected of me. Going to school, being a somewhat good person, I would say.
Right. I paint the picture of, you're the first Danish person. We had someone from Germany, but you're the first Danish person to be on the show. Explain to our listeners, what it is like growing up in Denmark. What was the childhood years were like? How is it unique in Europe? How is it? Yeah, right. Paint that picture for us, if you don't mind.
Yeah, and it's actually something that I realized after moving to Canada, just seeing the difference between, it's easy to see a difference in Canada, but also looking back, and just what's actually going on in the Danish culture or in Europe, and seeing more of the blind spots in a way, and some of the could say advances and challenges, and some of the things that are kind of hidden under the carpet in a way. But I would say in general, on paper, living in Denmark is supposed to be one of the best countries in the world because of the social system. I think we're 5 million now in Denmark. So it's a fairly small country. But I would say Danish people, they feel Danish. It's a very cohesive culture. And it's more it's kind of a tight-knit family culture, I would say. So there's a high level of trust. There's a high level of safety. So that makes it easy for people to do, to live out their dreams, I would say. I would say Danish people are also very spoiled, because, if you lose your job, you You can get paid, I think, up to 2 years from the government, 6 weeks pay vacation, university paid for, medical care, everything is paid for. So my memories of being a child in Denmark was very safe. I could just go on my bike anywhere, go to school. Like there was no one with guns, there was no one really with drugs, or there was like no homeless people. Like it was a little bit like being a hobbit in the Shire in Lord of the Rings, I would say.
Very interesting.
So I think that's why like a lot of Danish people, they like to staying Dane, because it's just so good, like high level of innovation, high level of consciousness, I would also say, for like the general population. Yeah, just really focused on doing good things in the world and living green, don't have any big cars, big houses. It's not like a big thing, I would say, in Denmark. It's not that popular to be a millionaire or rich as it is in America. That's just my view. But I can also say that now, looking into the Danish culture, for me, it's can also almost be a little like a sleeping bag. Like it can be too boring, too easy, too simple. Because when I came to Canada, there's no one to come and knock on your door and help you in that way. Is the same level as in Denmark. So I would say I like the combo between like what Canada has to offer and Denmark. I like the combo of that, I would say. So I feel I have like more like an embodied Danish person in me, and that's who I am. And I think that's definitely helped me a lot within my own business, starting here, kind of having that European mindset. Probably thinking a little bit more outside of the box than being, I would say, like Canadians, a little bit more conservative, more, want to keep things safe. And there's also the whole politeness to the culture as well.
Please and thank you. I mean, talk about the cities and the rural towns or rural villages, because there's a contrast. I've been traveling and also observing, I think, globally, and how is that in Denmark, living in Copenhagen, probably one of the biggest cities, I suppose, versus somewhere living in like rural Denmark. How is that actually? And what's the difference like in Denmark?
Yeah. And the difference is pretty vast, I would say. I got a job in the fashion industry, and so that's why I moved to Copenhagen initially. And it's very different from the countryside and the rural areas. Also, how we speak Danish is very different. We make fun of each other a lot because it sounds very different, I would say. But everyone is, especially when you come to Copenhagen, like you don't really need a car. Like you have the infrastructure is so well set up for anything like metros and trains and buses. When I lived in Copenhagen, I didn't own a car. It was basically first when I came to Canada, I owned my first car. Otherwise, I just had a bike. I was just biking to work. Sometimes I would bike 15 kilometers each way. And on my way home, I would go to the winter swimming club, or maybe in the morning before going to work, I'll just bike there, jump in the cold ice water, going to the saunas a few times, put some deodorant on, a t-shirt and my clothes, and then bike to work. That was kind of such an amazing way of starting my day, and I think that says a lot about the Danes, that you see them on bikes and you see them doing a lot of gardening, and they love hobbies and something to spend an intimate time, quality time on.
Got it. I mean, even if you're living in like a rural part of Denmark, for instance, like the villages, do you still need a car, or you can still get away with the public transport?
No, most people they have a car.
They have a car. Okay, got it.
Yeah, but here in Canada, like most families have 2 cars, but in Denmark, it's just one is usually enough.
Right.
Where here it's just like, you have a truck and then 2 cars, and so it's just very different, and it's just a different culture.
Right. So how did you get into the passion of, I know you have multiple passions, I can tell, instantly. I mean, we'll get into the coffee roasting in a bit. You have so many other things going on. Before we get into all-in productions, how did you get into cinematography and storytelling? What was that passion like? Were you always attracted to storytelling, movies? Where did it all come from?
Yeah, I think if you really go down to the root of it, I think I've always been very sensitive, and that's something actually that was a big struggle for me when I was a child, like growing up. Like, yeah, I was just very sensitive. It was a challenging time in the beginning going to school for me because I was just like I was feeling everything so intensely, and I really didn't feel like I really belonged in this world. Like there was something more. It was just like there's something wrong here. There's something else. So my sensitivity and also kind of like the lack of kind of belonging into this environment and people and like what is going on here? There's something missing because when I looked around, everyone was kind of like, there was kind of suffering in a way or like just challenged. And I was really curious about what else is there. There must be something else. Like what is love? What is existence? Why are we here?
Right.
That was kind of like how I came into this world, I would say, with that curiosity and that openness to that. So back to your question, I'm very creative. Like I've always been playing music and I'm really good with, taking pictures and art and all these creative things. That's always been very natural to me in my life. Like, so I was working in the fashion industry a few years and then in Copenhagen, and then the crisis in 2008 really hit the fashion industry hard. So I was laid off. And that was a time where I was also kind of done with that industry because it was just very shallow and it was all about just sales and image. And that was also a part of something that I also enjoyed at that time in my life. But after that, I just wanted to do something completely else. And that's when I started going into social work. And so I was actually more interested in, talking to people where I was working about their problems and what basically bringing out their true selves and figuring out who they truly are, and instead of all the roles that we're all playing. And that's why I went into working with kids for some years. And as a musician, it was easy for me to get a job in early child development. So I worked in for I think 5 years with kids, and also I started on a psychotherapy education, a 4-year psychotherapy education. So that was kind of like a different part of me, where it's just kind of like the deeper stuff in life, and also wanted to get to know more about myself. And I was also there's different parts of me that I was kind of challenged by my own interior, my own way of thinking, my own way of feeling. And I knew that I needed to do some own research and soul digging within my own life. So that led me to that 4-year psychotherapy education, which was very profound, I would say, very challenging, but also very beautiful full time that I had there. That again ignited that hunger for life and getting to know myself more, opening my heart. What is, who's control here? What is controlling my life, my family? What's going on with my parents? What's going on with my friends, society? So I'm just kind of like beginning to see all these patterns first within me, and then also kind of like getting to reading and to seeing that, wow, we're all just living a program, and we all
matrix.
Everything from that program, that's what we call me.
Right.
So that was very interesting and eye-opening to get into, and I think that's where the storytelling part, has been growing, because I always enjoyed listening to people, but I love asking the difficult questions about the more deeper stuff in life, because I think that's the most valuable thing to talk about.
Have you seen this movie called Matrix?
Oh yeah.
It's an old movie, but
Oh, yeah.
it
That's
says
a
the
great
right thing.
example. Great example. Yeah.
It's kind of like a programmed you're in a matrix kind of a thing. There's a red pill and a blue pill, I think.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like when we dive deeper into ourselves and into our hearts and into our being, the deeper we go, the more we realize that what we think is reality is not real.
Jay Shetty, I think he said, like, I might be saying it wrong, but he said, like, who am I? So I am. He says, like, I am what you think. I think you think I am. So it's like a perception of a perception, right? So that's what it is. Like, who's VJ? Who's Lasse? It's like it's a perception that the society creates for ourselves. We cannot help it. So once we are out there, put our pictures, like, there's a perception instantly created. We cannot stop it. Right, but it's fascinating. No, thanks for sharing that. One thing I wanted to ask is, like, from what you've said and things like that. I'm also, like, doing a lot of self discovery. I mean, anyone who wants to do self discovery, go start a business.
Oh yes, oh, that's true.
There's a lot of, like, challenges, and there's mountains after mountains that you keep climbing. Oh, you thought you just finished climbing a mountain, there's a new mountain you're already climbing, right? So it's an endless journey, and a lot of times actually it also gets super lonely because you're constantly making decision after decision after decision. It gets tired at some point, right? And there's a lot of questions, the ifs and buts, the fear, uncertainty, the doubts, right? Everything comes at once sometimes. Some days you don't feel like doing anything. At some days you are, like, super creative. You want to go conquer the world, right? So some days are different. But across all that, there's also a huge part also is, like, a human suffering, right? Going through that journey. What do you want to speak to that? Like, in terms of, like, the suffering part?
Yeah, no, I think you're really mentioning something important, because a lot of people think that, being an entrepreneur or business owner is just like, yeah, you just see the happy pictures and okay, I made my first million, da da da. But I totally agree with you. Like, for me, being an entrepreneur is just a journey of becoming who I truly am, and that's why over my whole lifetime I've been going from the fashion industry to working with kids, to having online stores, to do retreats in nature in Copenhagen with people in silence, all kinds of different things. But for me, I can only do what I resonate with. And that's kind of like, I think, because it can be it can be a curse, but it is just, everything is just leading me to one direction, I would say. And I feel in my life it's getting just narrow, more narrow. There's what I could do in the past, I cannot do now. Like, it's just so narrow, and it really all comes down to me being the business. That it's not so much about anything else, and just distilling everything inside of me. So the more open I am, the more I think outside of the box, the more I am also able to help other people as well. But back to the suffering part,
right?
And I think I want to bring in Dr. Joe Dispenza here, because he is one of the leading scientists in this world that have done the most research on what makes people transform. So there's no fluff. It's just all about what actually works when we look at the heart and the brain and the body and the mind and our identity, what actually works. And so we do suffer because we have a subconscious, and apparently we only conscious of 5% of our decisions, of what is controlling us. So 95% is subconscious, and that's the suffering. The suffering is that something is just doing the same things over and over again, and in that way we are living our past every day, even though we think, oh, I'm on top of the game, having this business, I just made the decision yesterday, so now I'm doing this. But essentially there's something else playing the game. So the matrix seems like it's outside of us, but it's actually inside of us. Wow. So we are locked up in this subconscious matter that is actually controlling our lives. And that's where the suffering comes. But the more we get and become aware of our own suffering, And you can say, where does all this suffering come from? Did I just create this? No, it comes from our parents, their parents, their parents. It's something that is just, it's ancestral stuff.
Right.
Many, many years ago. And that's why we have anxiety and is scared of spiders or scared of flying or whatever it is. It's just all old ideas that is still within us, but we can clear that out by becoming awake and more self-aware, and then change those beliefs, change those feelings, and step more out of suffering. And I find in my own life that the fastest way out of that suffering is not to work harder or being more positive or reading more books. It is the technology and the efficiency of open our hearts.
What do you think is missing in society, let's say? Because I've shared this with you because you're a deep thinker, I can tell. I've shared when we recently connected. I like the pace that you deliver your message when you're sharing stuff. Like, so you have like a lot of deep thoughts in terms of like you dive into a concept. I think you think about it a lot. You observe a lot. You kind of bring it back to yourself and also share it with the world. From my perception, I could be completely wrong. It's a perception of a perception, right?
Yeah, no, but I think you're right.
So, I forgot my original question, actually. So I was trying to ask in terms of like, so where is it all taking us actually from a society? Okay, I think here's what I want to ask. Where do you think the society has actually gone wrong in a lot of this? Is it the society's problem or is it the individual's problem? So I explained the matrix within you part. That is a part I would like to explore a little bit, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm. I don't know exactly when it all started, but I think it comes down to not being conscious, because if we were all conscious, this world will end right away. Like the stuff you would see in news would stop right away. Like people making wars and complaining would stop. Because
hold on, just like interjecting there, didn't mean to interrupt, but do you think people are creating destruction unconsciously? I think many things are done consciously, right? I mean, like people fighting with each other and like creating wars, and many are like these are conscious decisions, right? Just wanted to add that to you.
Yeah. But I think, going back to the 95% of what we do is subconscious. The war is in our subconscious. So we are creating the wars from our own subconscious. And we can have 5% conscious. We can be 5% conscious of, we want peace, we want happiness,
right?
But what happens when someone really pushes your buttons? Are you still also just sharing love and affection to the world, or will you attack back? And most people attack right back. So what they're actually doing is not helping anything. It's just a covering of their own inner war. It can be hard to hear, but that's just the reality of how we are as human beings. Like we all have these wars inside of us, so to speak. So the only way to stop the war is not out there, it's in here. And it might take a lifetime to end the inner war.
Right. I see a lot of like war, I mean, not war, like the debates and quarreling online in Twitter and so many other places. And like many just they put a blanket statement saying it's hate, right? I mean, yes, it's hate in a way. I mean, like you're saying mean things to a person, it is hate. I get that. But what I find it really fascinating and funny sometimes is like, I mean, religion, for example, right? I mean, people get super serious about it. And actually, I mean, gods are actually supposed to be more powerful than the human, correct? I mean, according to all description of all religions, God is supposed to be some supernatural person. People are actually defending a god. For example, person A defends God A, person B defends God B, and they both are fighting each other. That's one example. And the other example is like person A is defending a nation, right? A person A is defending nation A, person B is defending nation B, and they're fighting each other. That is another thing. And the other one, which is most common in most countries, is the left versus right. A person defending an ideology of left, a person defending ideology of right. They're both fighting with each other. I mean, like, can't we grow up? Actually, the guards will be able to, if they're actually really as powerful, they should be able to defend themselves. Nation will be fully capable to defend themselves if there was a real attack. I really find it funny and fascinating at the same time, man. I don't know how to put it. What do you have to say to that?
But it's true, yeah. But what is actually taking place? It's in general, it's people living in survival mode.
Yeah.
So people living in survival mode, high level of stress, high level of fear, high level of separation, high level of I need to survive and do my own thing, and I don't care too much about other people. That's the way to start a war, and that's why you start identifying with a political party, or you start identifying yourself with I'm a Dane, I only love Danish people, or so. In that way, we kind of separate ourselves, but we also want to keep ourselves safe. So we want to be a part of a group that we feel that we belong to. But that can easily again be the a blind spot, because it's we're just doing that to survive, to feel like we belong. Do you get what I mean? And then we're fighting other people who are doing the same. They also feel a part of a group and they feel that they belong, but it seems like they need to attack each other so they won't affect their way of believing of what is true. So that's, again, I would say, like, when we live in the past, we will be living from that kind of survival, that kind of fear, except from when we open our hearts and mind to new ways of being, new opportunities, more love, more kindness, more openness, more curiosity. When we want to change, we will have a very different view of other people and the world, because then the world is not against us anymore. The world belongs to us. We are with it. We're connected to it. We feel whole. We feel fulfillment by just breathing every moment. And that's when the war stops, because we realize that we are connected with everyone, everything. And when I harm someone, I'm actually harming myself. And I think that is something that the world is really getting more aware of now, even though it can seem like a lot of chaos. But sometimes the more chaos will bring out the real in us, will help us really opening up to what actually matters in life.
No, actually, thank you for saying that. Actually, a week ago or something, I shared something with someone saying that the most hurt caused by someone are by the people who are also broken and hurt themselves. Actually, if someone is creating a lot of damage and saying a lot of mean things to people, they're also broken and hurt themselves deep inside, right? They see them creating more problems than actually the opposite. And
yes, yes,
and yeah, go ahead.
No, but it's like, if you listen to what people are actually saying, it says everything about, how they're relating to themselves. So in that way, someone who is really rough and is like, angry, hateful person, it's easy for us to judge that person as just like saying, wow, it's a horrible person. But another way of looking at it is basically to feel compassion for this person, because inside they are so hurting. For them to be so violent and so hateful, think about how they are getting up in the morning, like they're living a nightmare every day, but they're just asking for help. They're basically just saying, I don't know what to do with myself anymore. I'm just reacting to survive. So for me, I love seeing or training myself to just feel compassion for anyone in the world who most people, they hate or they don't want to talk about the person. Because I know that inside of every human being, there is authenticity, there's honesty, and there's truth, and there's love in everyone. It has just been covered up by patterns and false beliefs.
Recently, I wrote a tweet, and in terms of finding common ground, this is my I'm living across different cities now. This is my 14th city I'm living in, and I've been traveling through work and whatnot, meeting hundreds and thousands of people. This is what I wrote, actually. Let's say, let me know what you think about it. I said, after living for at least 3 months to 5+ years in 14 cities worldwide. My conclusion of connecting with people and finding common ground, right? I think that's what people are not finding, actually. Finding common ground is this simple. Do you breathe air? Question number 1. Do you want to be well? Question number 2. Do you want others to be well as well? Right? And do you enjoy a hot meal or a drink by end of the day? That's it. These are the 4 questions. I mean, do you like to have coffee? Great. I mean, do you want to be well and you want others to be well, right? And that's it. I mean, going back to the compassion and doing well and intending well for others, that's all it takes actually to find common ground.
Yes.
And why can't people do that? Actually, it is actually super simple, but it's difficult in reality, I would assume.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is, finding people who are really living this to the bone, like finding someone who has deep integrity, has deep compassion, who doesn't think as the system, who doesn't think as their parents, who doesn't think as society. Like, name people who does that, and it's not a lot. So I think it's just a lack of really good role models. And as an example in my life, that I knew that, even, my parents have done a brilliant job and everything, but I was longing for more when I was like a child. I knew there was something called unconditional love, and like, it's just really deep integrity, and it's hard to find. And I think that's what we can actually do. Find a really good role model. Find someone you look up to, someone who has more depth, who has more integrity, who has a more open heart, because then we are becoming that. That's why, I love talking about the future self, because the future self is just the ultimate version of me, that when I'm open my mind, I think out of the box and I go within, I see such high potential in me compared to just reliving my past over and over and just thinking in this little box that I've created. And that's basically what we call life. It's just a box. And we think we live an amazing life in this box, but it's only when we step out of the box we actually realize, holy Christ, this has been so limiting. I've been doing the same things over and over again, and it hasn't really worked. So what actually works, and how can I transform? How can I get out of this box? That is when life truly starts.
I've seen a lot of like title chases, like, oh, I want to be the VP, I want to be the CEO, I want to be the general manager, I want to be the director of this, that. I don't know whether it's fortunate or unfortunate. I met many of those people, actually. I met the VPs and the general managers and the CEOs. You have met many of them in your life, in your experience as well. My experience is like, when I actually go speak to them, many have these like fancy titles and like inflated paychecks, and that they are actually getting, but they also have an inflated lifestyle, like the Cybertrucks and the Teslas and the BMWs. Nothing against BMW. I love all the cars.
Me too.
Yeah, that's great. But what has happened over time is like their lifestyle itself has created a trap for themselves, and they're not able to escape it in a way. And many of these people, I found them to be super unhappy. Actually, they have the title that they wanted. They have the title that they ran after for 10 years, 20 years. They got it. Yet they are like super unhappy people. And that was actually profound when I saw that. Wow, this is what you chased and you got it. Now you're super unhappy. What do you want?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, I mean, that is the question I'm asking myself also in a way, but right? I don't know. I'd love to see, I'd love to see how you respond to that.
No, but you're mentioning something so important, because, and I also know that from my own life, like when I was 20, my biggest wish was having a Porsche or something, like, and, getting rich and all these things. I have, hundreds of thousands of dollars on my account, and it didn't make a difference. So it's not about money, right? I think the most important thing in this is again, are we building from fear and survival mode? Because if that's our foundation and we're building success on top of that and money, we're living a life in a lack of integrity, lack of authenticity. So if we build the foundation of this survival mode, this false identity and we build success and business on top of that, it's not going to work. So no matter how much we build on top of that, if we go to Hawaii, if we go to the moon, if we go to Mars, we live on Mars, or we own the whole city, it doesn't change the foundation. And the foundation, looking into it, you could call that unhappy or afraid of living or unsafe. So that's the only thing that I'm really curious about. Is just all about the foundation. And the foundation is kind of like, what are you living for? Is there something inside of you that calls you home? Is there something that touches your heart? Is there something that you would give your life to?
Like would you call it purpose or?
Purpose. Yeah, you could call it purpose. It has so many words and it doesn't really matter what it is. But I think that is really our true responsibility to figure out what is our purpose. And I realized for my own life, the only way that what it really worked for me is to go within. It has nothing to do on the outside first. It can help, going to India or, going to Vipassana retreat, 10 days meditation or spiritual retreats, all the things that definitely helps all of that. But it's only me who can know what my true purpose is and then following that. So I think that's the most important thing, because when we I would say like arrive home within ourselves, then it's less interesting getting a title, because it's almost like, why would you get a title for what? I'm just me.
Yeah.
So I think I believe like the more that you're looking for a title, the more you're looking for success, the more you're looking for money or all the things, it's just a compensation for the lack we're feeling inside. So I rather look at the lack now instead of doing that later, when you maybe, you got the title and you're successful and you're a millionaire, but the foundation hasn't changed. That's why I find it so important to do that inner work, whatever it looks like for you.
One thing I wanted to ask in terms of like this, we are living in a heavy materialistic world, capitalistic world, the brands and marketing and right. I mean, the Pradas and the Louis Vuittons and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And the way it is actually marketed to people is like, I mean, we do marketing and we talk to, I mean, we do all of that actually to promote business and whatnot. Yeah. At the same time, many of these like the $1 billion brands actually are promoted. This is the one thing that you need. This is the Coach bag is the only thing missing in your life. Go get it. What's the other watch company brand? I forget it. I don't wear a watch since Rolex. Yeah. So you have to get the Rolex watch. That's the only thing missing in your life. Go get that watch. Right? I mean, that's how it's marketed. It's painted like that. And people get attracted to it in a way. And once my personal observation is like, I have to get that iPhone. The moment I got it, the next day I lose interest in that. I mean, that's my personal observation actually. So, I mean, I'm sure same thing is with buying a car, with all these materialistic things. So that is one thing I'm observing. One thing I'm carefully learning myself is also observe, not just like keep going, but also to observe what's happening around, because that could be a beautiful teacher of its own, right? What is happening in society? How are things perceived, and like what is working, what is not working? I continue to observe both for me and for business and for different things, right? So that is one thing that's happening, the materialistic world. And the other side of the world is like living a minimalistic life. Oh no, I just need like 2 pairs of like a t-shirt and a jean and a shoe and a car. I'm good, right? So that's another side of the world. So where do you see balance actually? I mean, there's the minimalistic thing and there's a materialistic thing. But where do you see the balance, let's say? Really?
Yes. No, I love your question, because you're really hitting the target here. And I think that's also something for me that I like. It took me many years to kind of figure out, because in some ways I wanted to live like a, almost like a monk in a way, like just all about just being present, just being. I thought that would be the solution. And then on the other side, it's just all about doing. Let's get things done. Let's do this. Let's do all these things. But about balance, I find instead of figuring out how to to do it this way or that way, I think the answer is still like going a level deeper. It's basically like Einstein said, like you cannot solve the same problem from this same state you're having the problem. So if you go a step deeper, then we become more aware of what we're actually doing, and we will come more into our own balance. And again, like I like using the heart as an example, the energy field around our heart, when we open that, everything slows down. The pulse slows down, our mind slows down, sends signals to the world, to the brain that you are safe. You don't need to fight anymore. The past is over. And when we're in that state, this state of being, when we look at, should I be minimal, or should I wear Prada every day and spend most of my life earning money for that?
Right.
The answer comes within.
Right.
So it's kind of like more a lean back, wholesome, intimate answer that you get inside. So you don't need to figure it out anymore. It just comes natural to you that you can say, wow, I actually really appreciate Prada's scarf, and it's meaningful to me to dress well, and I would love to buy that scarf. But also I would like to have a very simple, small home because I love traveling. That's meaningful to me. That's my balance. I'm not gonna say I don't want that Prada scarf. But so for me, balance is not about figuring it out. It's more becoming home and whole, and from there, everything changes. Everything changes because we become a new person. We could become a new identity, new way of being, and that's something that I really want to, share with the world, because a lot of people are truly struggling with this every day.
Yeah. Incredible struggle. I mean, something I'm passionate about is in terms of like the one thing I was the last 3-4 years I was also studying is about money actually as a concept, right? I mean, we use it every day to buy our Tim Hortons coffee or whatever, or go eat the lunch, or everyone runs towards money, right? And money is something, the more deeper I went into money and try to understand it, actually, many of the sufferings are also caused because of money. I mean, it's not even the material thing, whether I have the Prada or not. That is one question. That is one deep question. But also to get to Prada or to have that minimalist T-shirt, right? So you need money, right? So in a way, people are running towards money, and also money. Let's take T-shirt for an example, right? Like let's say the T-shirt today costs, let's say $20. Let's say the same T-shirt costs tomorrow like $200. The suffering is going to be there. I'll give you another example. Let's say in a family setup, right? Let's say it takes $80,000 for a family to run a family for a year, for example, give or take. Now that $80,000 is not enough. Now you need to make $200,000. So one person earning is not enough. So now two people have to work. A husband and a wife have to work, right? So that could be an extra meal that the time you're actually spending. In a way, I mean, because of the inflation, my observation is, I want to be wrong here, actually. I wish I'm wrong. Because of the inflation and the fiat currency and the cost of living crisis, people are suffering, right? Because the cost of living is actually making people to suffer more, and it is actually stealing time from people's lives in a way, right? Because instead of 100K, let's say now it's going to cost 200,000. So that time could be a dinner with your family, a vacation with your family, or some playtime with your kids, or whatever your favorite activity that you wanted to do in that time. So now you've stole that time because the currency is inflated and people are suffering. I don't like that, actually.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. Like money is just a big thing. And that's also something that I've realized over time. Like, if you go look into abundance, like what is abundance? And in the past, I would be more like, abundance is just like being rich. Like, so let's earn some more money. But the thing about like what you mentioned about money, that, money brings a lot of problems, but it's like this. If you have a bill in front of you, how can that cause you problems? It's only what you think about it. So the biggest challenge and problem with money is that we put our survival and lack that we feel inside of us, we blend that into money. And we think that money is the solution. That is causing all the money problems. There's nothing wrong with money. So if we take the money out of it,
it's a tool.
Money is just like air. It's just like air, but we are projecting our problems into money because we're feeling like we're feeling unsafe, or we are whatever it is. And we think that money is the problem. We think that money will solve the problem, because when I get rich, or if I pay this house off, then I would feel better. But again, back to the foundation, you will feel the same. Then you just find another problem. It's not the money anymore. Now it's the neighbor's problem, or my wife, or my ex-wife, or whatever it is. So I think for money, it's just all about, because we have been mixing our own problems and ideas into money for such a long time, and that's why we're just so stuck with money. We need to get money out of it, because money is not the problem. It's the way we think, it's the way we feel regarding life and money. And I believe that we can easily change our relationship with money by releasing this bounded way of looking at money and seeing money as just as an energy and as a tool to just, buy stuff, give and receive. So I don't believe that money is a problem. It's just an excuse we have.
Got it. No, I love the answer. I love the answer, actually, because there's one thing I'm super passionate is about, like, Bitcoin, and like not everyone are fans of Bitcoin. There's only two camps: either you love it or hate it. But I was studying Bitcoin, and really found it fascinating. I mean, it's an entirely different topic, Bitcoin. I don't want to go into that rabbit hole. It's it's a different rabbit hole, but I kind of find it fascinating in terms of, like, people projecting their problems into money. I completely agree with that. But at the same time, for example, you're buying dinner for a family of like 2 or 3. Let's say it costs $100. Say tomorrow it's going to cost like $300. That family actually has to go through some suffering to get to that. You know what I mean? I'll explain it in a different way, because let's say we have 10 apples. I'm trying to bring it lowest boss.
This is for kids, for the kids now.
This is for kids. This is for lowest common denominator, right? Let's say we have 10 apples and we have $10, right? So each apple is supposed to cost $1, right? We have 10 apples and $10, and each apple is supposed to cost $1. You with me there?
Yeah.
Now let's say we have $100, right? And we have the same 10 apples, because the number of apples doesn't change in this case, for example. So what will be the cost of each apple? It'll be $10. You know what I mean? Now increase that same $100 to $1,000. We still have the same 10 apples. So the cost of an apple would go from $10 to $100. You see what I mean? If you have to compare that with real estate, there's finite amount of cities, finite amount of homes, land. Of course, they're building new homes. That's a different thing. Toronto or like Edmonton, there's only limited amount of area that is there. Like, the entire world is not Edmonton, right? I mean, there's a finite city limits and whatnot. So same thing with the Apple example. That's why the cost of real estate keeps going up. I mean, when our parents were actually buying, if they had to buy the same home that I'm living in, that you're living in, it's probably $50,000 or less than $100,000. Now we are paying $1 million for the exact same home, or 500,000, whatever, right? So that kind of creates, that kind of like steals, because time is limited. I feel time is the ultimate currency, not even the currency, not even the dollar, not even the euro, because time is the ultimate currency. Our time in this earth is limited, right? I think you would agree with that. Our time in this earth is limited, and that is the one thing that we cannot get back. That's the ultimate currency. If you're really giving a time for your friend, or for a coffee that you want, it means you really mean something, right? Because you're actually giving the most important asset of your life to spend it with someone. You know what I mean? So that being said, just because what an apple should cost $1, let's say now it costs $100 per apple. So now you're stealing time from that person's life. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like something about inflation, and also like some people are rich and some people don't have a lot of money, so they need to work harder. I totally get that, but I basically see like being on this. I see this world as the matrix, and I see that we're all here to evolve, to become more open, to become more whole, and to returning to love, embodying that, being that. The problems and the cycles that we're in, the washing, I like to say that we sit in the washing machine and it will never stop. It will never stop. So if all of a sudden, if all the apples, they were just in a fixed price, then there would be something going on with the bananas all of a sudden. Oh, the bananas and the oranges and then we will have UFOs coming down and
I agree.
and talk to us. Then all of a sudden, it's not a problem anymore what the apples are costing. Now the challenge is that we have UFOs coming in, we have aliens coming in with higher technology. What we are gonna do now? You see what I mean? So it's endless. It's endless.
Yeah.
However, the only thing that we actually can do is to take fully responsibility for our own life, create the life we truly believe is true and aligned within ourselves. Then it doesn't matter that much what is actually going on in the world, if there's going to be a lot of inflation, low inflation, all these things, because we will also become smarter. So we will make some better decisions regarding money, regarding anything we do in our lives. And if we don't, we're going to learn from it. We're going to learn great lessons. I find that in my life that, I don't know, the 5 times where I've been lying on my bathroom floor crying, so to speak, just as a picture, has been the most profound experiences in my life, because that has taught me about what is worth living for. What is truly worth living for in my life. Something didn't work out. I fell to the ground, fell to the floor, and felt miserable for days. But in that time, I realized that there's always something sustaining me. There's always love. There's always connection. There is something more than just my little life. And for me, that is worth living.
Actually, right after COVID, something happened, actually. It's like a lot of self-discovery, as you would imagine, especially when you're doing a business, doing a different thing. We came to Canada in 2018. That's when we became permanent residents and whatnot. So, and COVID came in 2020. What happened is like after welcome to Canada. 3 or 4 months before, recently we became citizens and whatnot. So it's been a great journey. But something around COVID happened, actually. I mean, I don't want to get into the vaccine or anything like that, but actually what happened is after the second vaccine, I started getting adverse reaction on my left eye. It was so intense. The eye started getting red. I thought it was something from the shower, the shampoo or something got into my eye, and then I was washing it, and it didn't go away. After a week or so, it got so intense that the redness wouldn't go away, and it was so painful on my left eye. And the instant reaction is you take painkillers. I started taking Advils. And initially, it would last for 3 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. Then it started lasting less, 6 hours, 3 hours and whatnot. Then one middle of the night, it was 2 a.m. I already took my 6 Advils for the day. And the last Advil I took was at 1 a.m. I'm sitting at like 159, like it's going to be 2. And it wouldn't even last an hour, right? It was so intense. And my wife drove to the ER. We went to the doctor and we saw, the doctor didn't know what happened. I don't know what went into your eye. I don't know what it is. It is some adverse reaction. There's nothing unusual happened in that, like something didn't work for me in my body with the shot I took or whatever. I don't know what is the reason. I still don't know. Doctor said, okay, fine. Let me put you on a steroid, the steroid thing. And he put me on a steroid for 2-3 weeks. And after 2-3 weeks, it kind of calmed down. And he actually said, you would have lost your eyesight. My left eye, I would have lost my eyesight, actually. That's what the doctor said. Had you not come earlier, a little later, you would have lost your eyesight. So that was an That was actually, pun intended, I would like to say that was an eye-opening moment for me where I would have lost my eyesight, actually. So in terms of like, I was not paying enough close attention to people or life or humanity in a way. So my observation started to increase in terms of like, what am I doing? What is society doing? What is happening to me? So I was not overthinking or anything, but at the same time, I started valuing people more. If you have to paraphrase it, I started valuing humanity better, because in no time, sooner or later, we are going to start living in an ant colony. I don't think that is happening. Humans have to find a way to live with each other in peace. So that kind of like, it was really opening. And that's why I put in the 3 pillars of my headers everywhere. I say this: it's leadership, technology, and humanity, because humanity comes from there for me, actually, because I want to be able to connect with as many good friends and create those beautiful relationships around the world. That's my passion right now. Maybe that's one reason why I'm doing more podcasts and listening to people from around the world. So my question around that is like, how do you see humanity, and what have you learned from the human species overall? We're all human species in a way.
Oh, but thanks. Yeah, that's a great sharing. Thanks for sharing that with me. I think, again, like a good example, like something happens to us, and then we can rise above that, and we get to know deeper insights about what life is for. So I think that's why difficulties will help us grow. It's not against us. That's again back to the subconscious, that we can call subconscious the war inside of us or the hell, but no, it's just it's just a lot of different aspects of us that we haven't integrated. So we are still to become more whole by integrating it. Yeah. I think everyone is a teacher. Everyone,
love that.
Everything, we all teachers. Like, you're a teacher. We all learn from being around each other. And I think the more open we are, the more honest we are, the more we are helping each other, so to speak. Yeah, and I think the biggest challenge is just all about getting out of the box and looking at the box from the outside in, because it's just so easy to get blind. Let's say in a culture, we live in a culture, everyone is doing the same, everyone is just agreeing on the same things. It's just so easy to fall asleep, to not become aware of all the blind spots that are controlling that society's life or this culture. There are things we don't talk about, we don't speak about. We're being, and in Canada, it's like the politeness. I love the politeness, but it's just a good example of, it's mostly a facade. It's not genuine. It's not genuine politeness. So if we're not aware of that, then we're just playing that game our whole life and saying, "I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're sorry. I'm sorry. You're sorry. Oh, how's your weekend? Good. How are you? Good." Like, and
it's not real talk. It's not real talk.
I'm not really being hard on the culture, but that's just an example of,
it is true,
how we can just be blindfolded if we're not aware, because that we can only change what we're aware of. And then saying, okay, maybe I don't want to say, "Hey, how's it going? Good. How are you? Hey, how's it going? Good. How are you?" It's more like, can I be a little bit more honest, or like, what can I do? So this is just an example of one little change that we can do in society. But I would say, in general, everything and everyone is a teacher, and it doesn't matter who it is. And I would say in Edmonton, there's a lot of homeless people, and they are great teachers. Because they teach something about us that we don't want to be a part of. And the bigger gap we have within us, and the more fear we have towards homeless people and people on drugs or insane people walking the street, tells us something about ourselves. So if you really want to learn something about life, it's not really going to more of the networking events and being an entrepreneur. It's more like taking that hat off, go with the homeless people and spend a whole day with them, buy them some food and ask them, "Why are you homeless? What happened to you?" That's the teacher right there. And I think a day like that will have a bigger impact than what a business can just do in their own little ways in 1 year. You get what I mean?
I agree.
It will be a life-changing moment, but
I agree.
It's waiting around the corner. We can do that after this podcast. We can go and spend that time. So it's possible.
It is possible. It is possible. What do you think people are really afraid of, actually? I mean, I was speaking to my wife. I don't know. I forget who is about the same thing, because I wish people were more honest. I wish people were just authentic. I mean, you don't have to be rude. Like you don't have to say something on their face, but at the same time, just be genuinely, like, I don't know what's the right word. Like integrity is a good word. It's a good word, but can you be like really genuine, be authentic? Can you actually say what you mean without being rude? I think it is possible, right? I don't know what people are really fearful of. What are they really fearful of? Let's say.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. It's a good question.
What's going to happen? I mean, I have a clip I want to play on vulnerability, but like, I wish people were a little bit more vulnerable, and it doesn't have to be playful, but at the same time, be respectful. Don't be rude, but like, can just speak your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Why are people so afraid of doing that?
Yeah, I believe that our biggest fear is to let go of our fear. So we are afraid of our own inner true power. So most of us are, raised to be a specific identity, a specific person, and that person is built off of habits and beliefs and usually how your parents would like you to be, right? And that's we could call that not your true self. It's just kind of like a programming, right? So being this program, the biggest challenge, the biggest threat for this program is something from the outside comes and threatens this program. You see? And that's why our nervous system or our ego reacts when someone is pointing something out on us, or it's against us or something like that. So the ego responds and it wants to fight for itself. So what we fear the most, or what our ego fears the most, is letting go of all that protection. And when we do that, we step into a different power within us. So we're not living the survival mode, holding everything together, defending ourselves all the time, but we can just be from a state of being, a state of I would say love inside of us. And that love and that beingness is a power, because when we open to that within ourselves, it will let these old beliefs fall away, and that makes us vulnerable. And so the more that we soften ourselves within, we will let go of our identity, and we will feel so vulnerable, because now all of a sudden we don't feel all this strength that we had. Maybe the confidence that we used to have is disappearing, and we're just being vulnerable, but we're stepping into this deeper power, and we know that this is our true authentic way of being. But initially, that is what we're fearing, because letting go of our identity creates all the anxiety and fear in the world. And I think that's where most people are stuck, because if they let go of this, they're nothing. That's the belief. We're nothing if we let go of our fear and our worries and the past. So when it's actually taking place, we realize, holy Christ, now I can relax. Now I can live a life of happiness and joy. I don't need to do this anymore. And what I actually feared was just changing and becoming a deeper version of myself.
What is identity in a way? How would you define identity? Because like identity for different people means different things. How would you define identity yourself? Not for you, in general, for how people perceive identity as a concept.
Identity, I think it comes down to, I think there's different levels to identity in a way.
Because that's what people are trying to protect, right? Through their egos and through their different things.
Identity, I would say, like, our ego is our personality and our self-image. Because that's what we show. That's what we show to the world. We have a personality to engage with the world, and then so that is our identity. So identity, it's all about how we show up in the world, what we think, what we feel, and what we believe about ourselves. And then we share that with the world, and they get that, and then they are identifying you as that thing. And that's why it's hard to change. Also in a relationship, I don't know if you know that from your relationship, but if one person changes a lot, then the other one can almost be like a little scared, like, honey, I don't want you to be so kind and so loving because it's too much now. Right. So we kind of have this agreement. It's kind of like we have all these undeclared agreements with each other that we actually don't want each other to change too much, because otherwise, it will change our relationship. It will change how we think about each other. And that's why a lot of people, it's just easy to just stay as we are and not changing.
Love that. I want to play a clip of Brené Brown. You might have seen her. Oh, yeah. She spoke about vulnerability. I just want to play the clip and get your feedback on that. Please try playing it.
That vulnerability is courage in you, but weakness in me. When I meet you, it's the first thing I look for in you, but it's the last thing I want to show you in me. And so I think to really put ourselves out there, knowing that if we do that enough, we're going to fail, I just don't think it gets more courageous than that.
Love it. Any thoughts on vulnerability?
Yeah.
So Brown.
Yeah. I love her work, and she's a good example of a good role model for that part of being a human being, being vulnerable, and she's what we call an expert. Yeah. So I think back to what I shared is that, and also what she is addressing here is that she doesn't, she's afraid of being vulnerable herself. She knows that she doesn't, initially like being that, but she loves seeing it in other people, and that's connecting with other people into their vulnerability, because when we are vulnerable, we are taking down the defenses. That's the power of vulnerability. And when we take down the defenses, we're actually showing up with more integrity. So what can seem like weakness, you're crying, or you're not being a true man, whatever it is, it's actually the opposite. It's kind of like you are becoming more a whole human being, showing all aspects of life, instead of playing this mechanism, this role that you think you need to be. You can relax into something more soft, right, which will make you vulnerable for a period of time, but that vulnerability will change your identity slowly because you are letting go of your old way of being.
Is it a good thing or is it a negative thing?
I would not say it's good or bad, but if we want to label it, it's a good thing. It's natural thing for a human being. If we close down a vulnerability, we're closing down the ability to change and to open and to create a new future for ourselves. So vulnerability is the bridge into something more valuable and meaningful within ourselves. So I love vulnerability, and I can share with you that, I would say like half of my life, I did everything I could to hold down my vulnerability, hold down my tears, just covering up, because I thought that there was no space for it. I thought that there's something wrong with me. That's like, I'm feeling this sadness and I'm feeling vulnerable around other people. I thought there's something wrong with me. Until I realized that I'm sensitive. I'm an emotional guy. And when I started sharing my tears with people, when I started to be vulnerable and saying something that, would be shameful to share about my life or existence, and when I started sharing that, then the people I was sharing with, they had tears in their eyes. Maybe they start crying, and they also shared that, wow, I know exactly how it is. Like, I'm so happy you're bringing this up. I've been dealing with this for 10 years, and now you are showing me how to be with it. I want to do the same. So I would say over the years, I've just become more of a friend with my vulnerability, and I see it as a true power in life.
Actually, through our conversation, I've got a new definition for vulnerability.
Okay.
I mean, we spoke about please and sorry and thank you. I mean, like that's the surface level. We are trying to be nice, but at the same time, not revealing what it is actually. I mean, vulnerability is more like just being genuine and being authentic and being yourself. That's what vulnerability is actually, in a way, right? I mean, we have named it vulnerability. I think that should be the natural way of being, don't you think?
No, I agree. I agree. Because let's example, if you're committed to be fully authentic, that
Right.
also means you're not holding your tears back. You're not holding, if you're afraid, if you're fearful, you're just gonna say, I'm afraid and fearful right now.
Right.
You're not gonna hold it back like I'm just okay, So
Yeah.
it's just showing the whole thing.
Yeah. Why not? Right? I mean, like, yeah, just breathe there. Just be vulnerable.
Yeah.
That should be the natural way of being, actually. That
True.
being said,
I agree. And that's
like,
an example. That's basically what we see with kids. You see, like, kids are beautiful examples of they can have fun in one moment, then they can fall and cry in the next moment and being vulnerable and just saying, Dad, oh, that was so terrible. I know. And then it's just like, okay. And then they go back out and run and play again.
yeah,
And that's the part that we can learn from as adults.
as kids. Thank you for saying that. Actually, I've shared an example of like from the kids, especially from the COVID time where the lockdowns are happening. We were all in the home, like a lot of loneliness, depression, a lot of things were happening in society. I mean, the only place I could go to was the grocery store, or like few places were only open. I was in Ontario at the time. The little story is like I was at the store and everyone are masked up. Let's say you remember that period, like everyone are masked up. All adults are masked up during the COVID period. Kids were an exception. Kids doesn't need to mask up, right? Kids didn't have to put a mask on, right? So that was the thing. And I was at the grocery store and I saw a kid, a little girl, 2 years maybe. She was having a candy in her hand, a sucker, and she was just having fun, smiling, giggling, and she was in the moment. She was not thinking about COVID. She was not thinking about anything, any of that. The thing I love about kids is like they're super cheerful. They don't think about what happened yesterday. They're not worried about what's going to happen tomorrow. They're just in the moment. I think that's a beautiful quality that all adults will learn from the kids, actually.
Yes, no, but it's true.
That's something I love.
But I believe, I know from within my own life that we have that ability within us, which has been covered up by all these to-do lists and
noise.
We've just been covering up, so we can uncover it and be children again in a mature way.
Got it. So I want to segue into a different section of our conversation. So one thing is like I want you to be vulnerable. So we call it the AI section. So you're going to request AI to do something for you, like draw me or something, and it's going to draw you something, and we will have a question around it. So it'll be fun. And the other one I haven't done before, I saw your Instagram. Let's say, like, it's beautiful, man. I love your work. I saw some of the videos that you have created. I wanted to showcase the video that you would pick, and maybe we can watch it together, and then we'll have a question around it. How about that?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So let's go. Let's start with AI. Then after that, we are doing the Instagram Reels after that. Okay. So are you able to see my screen okay?
Yes.
All right. Okay, fine. So you're going to ask AI, what do you want to be drawn? Like draw me whatever you can tell.
So it says be like a picture, or
yeah, it'll draw. It can draw anything. Draw me a guitar or draw me whatever. It's going to draw you anything.
Okay.
Create a picture for you. Yeah.
Draw me a picture of how existence started.
Draw me a picture of how existence started. Let's see what it comes up with. It comes up with something interesting every time we make a request. So I'm fascinated by that.
Okay.
There's a bulb, and this, I don't know, is it like a sun or a star? I don't know what it is.
It's kind of like an expanding or exploding sun. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I resonate with the second one. The first one is too human.
It's too human. Yeah, that's right. So recently, I made a drawing actually I call it the light in the darkness. I don't know if you're able to see that, but are you able to see? I mean, maybe I'll stop.
Yeah, I could see it.
This is what I drew recently.
Nice.
See, it's a candle.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So the question that comes to my mind when I see that, the sun and the actual light, right? So I see that through the lot of conversations that we had in terms of like suffering and whatnot. I mean, how do you see humanity being a light in the darkness? I named this drawing a light in the darkness, actually. But when I see this, when the sunlight, what does it take for humanity to see light in the darkness? I think that's the question. People say there's light at the end of the tunnel and whatnot, but I wish there was more light in humanity than darkness. So what will it take for humanity to see that light in the darkness?
Yeah. It leads back to the conversations that we have been having already, is that it's all within. Like, we cannot chase the light outside. You need to do the work, so to speak, to figure out, what, who we truly are. And it comes with a cost, because it will change our identity. And usually we would not want to change. We would like to just stay the same. We want to experience more love and stay the same, but that doesn't work together. We need to change our identity and become a new person to get into this deeper depth and it would say awaken our true power within. And that starts from within our hearts, because when we are in our hearts, that's where we feel connected. That's where we feel love. And that's when we're not separate anymore. And that's why, as an example, we love falling in love with someone. We love kids, or we love the dog. What is it that we love? Is because we actually open our hearts when we are around these people. And when we realize that we open our hearts when we do these things, we can do that in everything. And that's where we can, turn on the light, so to speak, with everything in the world.
Awesome. I love that. I don't have anything better to add to that. So it's a beautiful answer you right there. So let's look at your Lasse's amazing Instagram reels now. So I really liked some of that, man. Lasse, is this one, right? Okay. So I want you to pick the reel that you want me to play. Which is the one that
you have? This profile is, I like sharing my personal life, when I'm doing retreats and also video production. I like sharing picture when I'm out dipping in the snow in minus 23 degrees. But let's move up. Let's just watch the newest one. That's this one, squared one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Did you hear the audio? Okay. Love it. Beautiful, actually.
Yeah. So there was actually a video made like a few days ago, actually. So it's basically just just a little bit of behind the scenes of my work. So I was just filming. While I was filming, I was just doing a little bit of behind the scenes, filming with the whole team I'm working with there. Yeah, I just, watching a video like that for me is just kind of like, it's just, I don't know, there's just so much love and compassion. I don't know what it is, but it's just like, that's why I love what I'm doing. It's just kind of like expressing this inner, deeper love and creativity through visuals, and doing that with people in their business, help them get in front of camera, help them step out of their own comfort zone, sharing their authentic voice, their true story about their business, and helping the business, bridging the business into the world with strategies. That's something that I just so enjoy. And I find that more recently, like, there's just all these synchronicities going on with the people that I attract and work with that just have the same, you can call it frequency and vibration. And then everything is just so aligned. Like, the what I believe, what I live and breathe, my clients do the same. So in that way, it just all comes beautiful together.
One question I wanted to ask from your work and storytelling, what do you think is actually missing in the world of storytelling, actually? Because you tell a lot of stories. You tell the story for the founder, for the business. You have told so many stories by now. So what do you think is missing from a storytelling point of view?
Good question. I think it depends on what kind of story you want to share, because I love the raw, honest, real truth. No matter what people have done, just tell the truth, because it will set you free. It will set me free. So I think what I see in my work, when people make business videos and also especially in the corporate world, the people I work with, I'm just encourage them to be themselves, the true, authentic self, share the true story, because the only thing that binds us human to human is the raw, true story. That's why we love listening to your podcast as well, because it brings out honesty, what's behind the scenes, and that is what people are looking for. I believe the future of business is authenticity, because as I mentioned earlier, if our foundation comes from integrity and authenticity, everything can blossom from there. Nothing will really fail. Everything will blossom, and people will see it, and they will just gather around you because you have something unique here, right? So I think that it from the storytelling point of view, be more real, be more honest and open, because that is what people truly connect with.
I couldn't avoid but do a plug for Authentic Hustle. It's a show that we do week after week. We call it Authentic Hustle.
I know, yeah.
So we try, Kelly and Colin and I. So we try to tell the struggle, tell the pain, tell the hustle what it is. So
exactly,
we try. We are trying to cover different topics and what it's not anything like Pathfinders. It's totally it's all about life, business, entrepreneurship, the hustle, the challenges, the struggles. It's about that. So go check out ah.live, anyone watching. So that's the Authentic Hustle. So I didn't mean to plug it, actually. I mean, I the conversation kind of led into that. So
that's all good. All good, man.
Yeah, no, love that. Coming back to All In Productions, how has it been? What do you want to talk about All In Productions? I want you to plug All In the way you wanted to plug it. So go talk about it.
Well, in some ways, there's not so much to share about. I think what I've been sharing about, the deeper things in life, that's what I really truly resonate with. And I think my business is just coming way more a part of that. And also, I'm just showing more of myself, and everything is just becoming more aligned, I would say, in what I do. But yeah, starting a video production company from scratch in a new culture was definitely a fun ride, I would say. It's been a beautiful challenge. There's been ups and downs and lots of learning. Yeah, I'm just so grateful that I am where I am right now with everything that I've become and all the opportunities that I'm in. And it's just been I'm just so grateful to do what I do, because I don't feel like it's work. It's just a lot of fun. I'm just so grateful to be able to travel and meeting all these different people and helping them and making a deep impact, and then being able to, film some beautiful videos that, that they're going to be here forever. It's not about let's grow the business. I look at it also as a legacy. Their kids will be watching this on YouTube hundreds of years from now. So for me, it's kind of like a bigger picture kind of thing in what I do. But initially, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah. What has been the most craziest or the fun story you've said in All In? This was the wildest experience. Oh, I went to Mexico. I mean, something like that. I mean, what was the most fun or crazier experience you had shooting people or telling this story?
Well, I would need to think about that.
Now you have said so many stories now, so you got to have one which is stood out. I can never forget this.
Yeah. Okay. So I was actually recently filming the founder of a company in Calgary. It's called Swoltex. So I've been we've been in contact for years actually. And he had an amazing entrepreneur story that he wants to share. So he reached out this summer and saying, okay, I'm ready now. I'm ready to share the story. And he's been sharing some initial things about struggle, it's just an amazing wild ride that he's been on, being almost needing to steal food to survive as an entrepreneur, almost living on the streets, living with cockroaches. And his kids would not kind of want to live with him anymore, or almost see him. And his daughter got cancer, like everything at once, while he was on this entrepreneurial journey and trying to get fundraisers and money and government things and lawyer issues and everything at once. So that was a beautiful story to help him share. So I went to his lab in Calgary. He has like a big lab where the people are working, and then in beautiful documentary style, helping him tell his story. And he was very pleased with it. And that story is gonna, be shared there with a lot of entrepreneurs and also, some of the organizations, etc., that has been helping him, in his journey. And I believe that the company is public now, or it's about to get public. So it's a beautiful ride. So I think that was the wildest story ever told.
Love it. No, it's beautiful. I can see every time when you're explaining all in or the work you're doing, I can see the passion in your eyes actually kind of opens up, and I can see that actually from what you're saying. I've met you in real life, so I know the kind of passion that you bring to work. So love it. I have next few questions just to get to know you a little bit, and also a rapid fire section, and then we will slowly go to the wrap. Another maybe 8 to 10 minutes. We're going to slowly getting to the wrap, actually. If you were this is a hypothetical situation. Let's say you're sending a voice note to your younger self. I don't know, you could be 18, 20, whatever age you want to pick. So if you're sending a voice note for 20 or 30 seconds, what would you send in that voice note?
That's a great question. I would say, Lasse, just relax. Just relax, man. You don't need to be anyone. You don't need to prove anything. Get to know yourself, your feelings. Allow yourself to express them freely. Find people that can help you, embrace your vulnerability. Someone who can help you go deeper in life, open your heart, and just take off the mask, because it's not needed.
Beautiful. Love that. So if your film, let's say you're making a film of, let's say, maybe now or in 10 or 20 years or 30 years, whenever that happens, what would be the title of the film? Besides your name, of course.
Transformation.
Good. Nice. Love it.
That's the only thing that's because I think like life is all about transformation. If we think about it or not, we're all transforming. And looking back into my life, that's basically what I've been all about, looking into how can I transform my life.
Got it. Black, you walked into different paths. Like you've done music, you've done art, you've done coaching, business, cinematography, and storytelling, documentary. So you've done a lot actually also in the past, like fashion and so many other things. So if you were given an option to delete one from your story, which one would you delete and why?
Never thought about that.
I mean, we're just giving a hypothetical delete button for today.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's a different way of thinking. I think like I was more like give it more like a general one. Like I paid too much attention on earning money in my and it's just kind of like it's a closed, it's a trap. I would say it's a trap because it doesn't really bring anything. It's just all about having the money that I need. I always had the money I need. I always had the money that I needed. Why even be worried about money? So I would say like instead of spending time on earning money, I would do something fun. Just get out in the world instead of just be too focused on money. I think that's the part I would erase from my part of my youth.
Got it. So next is a set of like few rapid fire questions. I know you're a fan of like roasting coffee, so we'll start with that question. So what's your regular roast level? Is it like light, medium, or dark? What's the roasting level that you love?
Medium plus.
Medium plus. Good. So you're a creator, but we have to balance between night and day. So are you a morning person, or are you a night out or night owl?
Yeah, the quick answer is now I'm after doing intense Dr. Joe Dispenza work, I am a morning person. I love getting up at 6 a.m. now.
Got it. If you have to describe your coaching style in one word, what would it be?
Direct.
Okay, so if there is a film that comes to your mind that changed how you tell your stories, storytelling, is there a film that comes to your mind, like about storytelling?
There are two. I would say like the first one is a Swedish movie called As It Is in Heaven.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite movies. You can all find it on YouTube. Yes, it's on YouTube. As It Is in Heaven with English subtitles. So if you want to watch that, I love that movie.
It Is in Heaven.
As It Is in Heaven.
Swedish.
Yeah,
there is the one.
Yeah,
okay.
That one. It's because it contains all aspects of life, all the way from relationships to religion / spirituality, beliefs, relationship problems, how to change, how to heal, how to transform. So it's it's such a beautiful and touching movie. That's the first one. And I think that the next one is the whole Lord of the Rings, because it's so profound what's taking place, what they put into, creating this story. Because again, it captures all depths of life, all the way from true, the true reality of life, to relationships, to different, beliefs. The world, the world is fighting each other like we see here in our world today. So I love that it has basically everything in it.
Got it. Is there a song that always lifts you up? Instantly, it changes your mood, changes your energy. Is there one? Is there a song that you frequently go back to?
It changes. It changes all the time. It changes. I really like rock music. I'm a 90s band, so I love like all kinds of rock from the 90s, because that was when I was young. But I don't know, something that touches me and just that I resonate with is more like I would say more like modern classic music, contemporary classic music. I would say some good artists like Olafur Arnalds is from Iceland. I like a lot of his stuff because it's so simple yet so intimate. And
what's his name again? What's his name?
Olafur, OLAFUR. There you go. The first one. Yeah.
Olafur Arnalds. Okay.
Yeah. It's his work is amazing. I've seen him live a few times in Copenhagen, and it's just, it has so much depth, his music, and it's just so nourishing and really connects me.
Got it. And if you want to have like a dinner or lunch with your like role model or a visionary, either alive or who is still there in person, who would it be? Who would be that person?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want to meet for lunch? When you say it might happen. So thank me later.
Yeah, I think that would be Buddha.
Yeah, I cannot help with that. He's long gone. Buddha.
Otherwise, I would love to go out for lunch with Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Joe Dispenza. Okay. When I was researching for you, it made me curious to go more dig into understand Joe Dispenza. Yeah, now I'm curious like about his teachings, and I've heard his name before, but not gone deep into his studies actually. So I'm going to research that. So
there's some good. I gotta say, there's some good podcasts. Some good podcasts on the CEO, the
Diary of the CEO.
Yeah. There's just listen to the newest one with him, and he captures everything that he is up to.
Got it. So one boldest decision that you've made in life, like what's that keeps coming back? Cloud, I did that. Okay. What is that boldest decision?
I think there's been many. I think it's just what can seem bold is just, acting on clarity. What is clear, even though maybe my family doesn't agree with it or someone else doesn't agree with it. That's basically it. Like moving to Canada. It was just so clear. And so I did that, and it can seem like, why would you move away from the best country in the world? Everything is so safe. You have an apartment and you have everything you need there and stuff like that. But my heart was showing the way, and nothing beats the heart. That's just everything. It doesn't matter what other things. Logic doesn't mean anything,
Right.
So that's basically it.
No, I'm glad you made that. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't have done this podcast actually, or had this conversation.
You see, you were bold. You're bold. No, I'm not gonna do the podcast. No, I'm not. And then I am gonna do the podcast. And then see. But can you see like the opportunities and how it has broadened your life?
Right.
Do you see?
Yeah.
Like it's
100%.
beautiful.
It is beautiful. Actually, I mean, people fight a lot within. I love humanity. I think humanity is worth it. People are worth it. People matter. People, often people act and behave and do things that as though people don't matter. That's false. I think people matter. What they think matter. What they do matters. Yeah. I wish people understood that and be more kind, actually. That's what I always say and give back. I mean, one thing I'm curious, like what did you see in Canada that others didn't see? I saw Canada from a different lens. You might have seen from a different lens. What did you see with Canada that you wanted to come here?
Yeah, so initially it was because of relationship. That's okay. That was the fire,
the driver.
Yeah, but there's also like in general, I would say like it's just the way like everything is pretty relaxed in Canada. In a way, I liked seeing Canada as in between Europe and the States. So in some ways you can find there's some really good places in Canada where you can live a really decent life. It's pretty easy to start a business. People are kind and it's easy to get along, and it's not too much conflict, I would say. So overall, like Canada is an amazing country, like endless opportunities.
Got it. Love that. This is the last question. So if you had to finish this sentence, the sentence begins like this. Transformation begins when? If you could finish the sentence. Transformation begins when?
When I say yes.
That's it. That's it. Love it. Let's say, where can people find you? If you want to direct people to go find you, where can people find you? What's the best place to find you?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on TikTok as well. And TikTok, you will find way more of the coaching and, inner, deeper stuff that I'm sharing there. On Instagram, it's a little relaxed, combined with, what I do with my videography and video production, and also just maybe some fun personal stuff as well. And for video production, it's allinproductions.ca. And for my own, more like the coaching side is lassejoergensen.com.
Got it. Lasse, I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I loved sitting down with you. I think it was a really deep conversation I've had in a long time, I would say. So you made me think a lot. You gave a lot of ideas. I think we were able to explore different concepts, topics, identity. We're like, wow, yeah, so many amazing things that we discussed. Thank you for that. Thank you for allowing me and trusting me to have this conversation with you. And it's a true honor, man. Thank you.
Well, Vijay, thank you so much. And thank you for your openness and sharing as well. And thank you so much for inviting me to this podcast. It's been such a thrill and beautiful time with you. So I really appreciate you and thank you.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you.